Good morning, it's Sharon with the Pickaway County Library, and I'm going to bring to you your preschool story time. We're going to start with a choo-choo train song, and I'll explain why here in a little bit. So you're going to need your arms, bending your elbows, and you can even walk during this song if you want a little bit. So it's called the choo-choo train. This is the choo-choo train, so bend your elbows, got to bend those elbows, puffing down the track. So start rotating your arms like a choo-choo train would do on its wheels. That's how it gets moving. Then it's going to go forward. Keep those arms going. And then it's going to go back. So kind of reverse yourself and go back. Now the bell's ringing. So pretend to pull a cord. Ding, ding. Now the whistle's blowing. So cup your hand over your mouth and go toot, toot. What a lot of noise it makes. Cover your ears. And everywhere it goes, stretch out your arms. Now we're going to do that song all together. Are you ready? This is the choo-choo train. Bend your elbows, puffing down the track. Now it's going forward, and now it's going back. Now the bell is ringing, ding, ding. Now the whistle blows, toot, toot. What a lot of noise it makes. Everywhere it goes. Thank you for joining me on that song. Goldilocks and the Three Rhinos, a South African retelling. That'll be our story time today for preschool. We are going to continue focusing in on Black History Month in February. Our book is written by Joan Rankin, or retold rather, and then Crocodile Books USA, an imprint of Interlink Publishing, is our publisher. Goldilocks and the Three Rhinos, a South African retelling. Goldilocks and the Three Rhinos, a South African retelling. Joan Rankin and Crocodile Books USA, an imprint of Interlink Publishing Group. So Goldilocks and the Three Rhinos. Once upon a time, 3 rhinos lived in a shack in the forest. The small rhino was called Baby Rhino, the medium-sized rhino was called Mama Rhino, and the big rhino was called Daddy Rhino. One day, Baby Rhino woke up very hungry. Their porridge was still too hot to eat. "Let's go for a walk in the forest while it cools," said Mama Rhino. The 3 rhinos were out walking. A little girl came to the house. Her name was Goldilocks, and she was not supposed to be in the forest alone. But Goldilocks didn't always do as she was told. "I'm hungry," thought Goldilocks, and she knocked on the door. No one answered, so she pushed the door open. She saw 3 bowls of porridge steaming on the table, a big bowl, a medium-sized bowl, and a little bowl. "I'll just have a little taste," said Goldilocks to herself. Ugh, the porridge in the big bowl was too stiff. Ugh, the porridge in the medium-sized bowl was too runny. I love her facial expressions. But the porridge in the little bowl was just right. "Just right," said Goldilocks, and she ate the whole thing. Oh, thought Goldilocks, I had better wait for someone to come home. Then I can tell them how hungry I was. Goldilocks saw 3 chairs, a big chair, a medium-sized chair, and a little chair. "I wonder whose big chair this is," she thought, as Goldilocks sat down. But the big chair was no good, too hard. Then she sat on the medium-sized chair. Too soft. So she sat on the little chair, and it was just right. "Just right," said Goldilocks. Crash, crack. Uh-oh, but crack, crash, the chair broke into pieces. Oh no, I'm in trouble. I'd better wait for someone to come home. Then I can tell them I'm sorry I broke the little chair. She peeped into the next room. There were 3 beds, a big bed, a medium-sized bed, and a little bed. I wonder whose big bed this is, thought Goldilocks, lying down. But the big bed was no good. Then she lay down on the medium-sized bed, too squashy. So she lay down on the little bed, and it was just right. Just right, yawned Goldilocks. Oh, and she fell fast asleep. When the 3 rhinos came home, they were surprised to find their door open. Take a look at the expressions on their faces. "Who's been eating my porridge?" roared Daddy Rhino in his great big voice. "Who's been eating my porridge?" shouted Mama Rhino in her medium-sized voice. "Who's been eating my porridge and eaten it all up?" wailed Baby Rhino in his small little voice. Then Daddy Rhino noticed the 3 chairs. "Who's been sitting on my chair?" roared Daddy Rhino in his great big voice. "Who's been sitting on my chair?" shouted Mama Rhino in her medium-sized voice. "Who's been sitting on my chair and broken it?" wailed Baby Rhino in his small little voice. The 3 rhinos looked into their bedroom. "Who's been sleeping on my bed?" roared Daddy Rhino in his great big voice. "Who's been sleeping on my bed?" shouted Mama Rhino in her medium-sized voice. "Someone's been sleeping on my bed, and here she is," wailed Baby Rhino in his small little voice. Goldilocks woke up with a fright. She saw the 3 rhinos. She jumped out of bed. She climbed out the window, and then, without even saying sorry, she raced out of the house and all the way home. Then Mama Rhino and Daddy Rhino shared their porridge with Baby Rhino, and they never saw Goldilocks ever again. The end. The reason we focused in on choo-choo trains is the African-American inventor that I'm focusing in on today is Elijah McCoy. And he designed this cup, kind of like a cup, not like a cup you would drink out of rather, but some kind of a cup that would leak oil just when it needed to down the track to keep the train moving and going. And so what happened is other inventors tried to steal his idea, but the train companies were not fooled. And when they went to order those for their trains, they would say, "I want the real McCoy." So we're focusing in on Elijah McCoy. For our craft today, we're going to make a train out of some colorful shapes here. You will find this posted in the comments section of this story time. Come join me. So as you can see, I have a bunch of shapes. This is a railroad car. So I am going to build my railroad car. And you can do this over and over. You can use your imagination however you want. You can follow what I'm doing or do your own thing. So this is my engine. And it has one of those little guards that kind of like that. So I put that there for you. And then you can build another railroad car. And you can use these to block it out, make it look kind of neat, or you can lay them underneath for the tracks if you want. That's up to you. And then I just have some various shapes that you can pile in there, like this train is hauling something. So that is your craft. We're going to go ahead and start our activity. For our activity, we're simply going to do a sensory bottle. So if you have something at home like white rice, or some light colored beans, anything that you have, even pasta, you can put it in here. And depending on what you have, I didn't have any little teeny trains or anything, but I have some foam letters and they spell train. I have a larger set and a smaller set. So I'm going to put those in my bottle and add some rice and mix it all up. And then your little one will be able to turn this and find the letters to spell the word train. Now that my sensory bottle is all filled with my rice and my letter shapes, I'm going to go ahead and start having some fun. I'm going to just simply twist it and look for a letter. Okay, we have an R, we have two I's, an N, another R, a T, and you can take this and have you a piece of paper and start writing those letters down as you find them. Put the little slashes and then start filling it in till you spell the word train. So it may take a while to find all the letters, but have loads and loads of fun. Thank you for joining me with this story time today as we focused on Black History Month, and I look forward to seeing you next week. But don't forget to come into the library on the days that we're open and get some books. We have lots of books out on display